There's been a red card, but for who, Chris Kamara?
They can't. Gets a red card. It is a red card. That's not a red card. And a red is a red card for Zidane.
4 lads, 1 red card.
Hello everyone, welcome to 4 lads, 1 red card. I hope everyone is doing well and is enjoying this season of football. I'm today once again joined by my 3 usual mates, Jotis, Darren and Alex. How are you going, guys?
Good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. You're excited?
Yes, for
As
sure.
always.
Excited. For football,
Yeah.
always excited. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
Can
we
never
have
say no.
We have a lot to discuss today. Guys, once again, just before we begin, don't forget to follow us and like, comment, and share our content on social medias. It's really important for us, so thanks for the support. We're, of course, on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and X. It's 4 lads, 1 red card. And we'll begin with our usual roundup of European leagues, starting with the Premier League, which once again provided some interesting games, good games for some of them. First, we wanted to talk a bit about the London Derby between Tottenham and Chelsea. I see, Darren, you're wearing the Blues shirt. That's nice. I like it. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Not because that Chelsea won, but because they didn't get a red card this weekend.
that's a good
Huge
move.
success.
That's a clever move. Yeah, this was a deserved 1-0 victory for the Blues, who now join Spurs in the standings with 17 points. And these are 3 very good points earned by Chelsea away from home. But above all, another home defeat in the Premier League for Tottenham. You know, guys, that Tottenham have only won 4 points at home in the Premier League this season. So that's really low, and they have some troubles playing at home this season. But we can say that was, I watched the game very closely, and it was a really, truly negative performance for Tottenham that recently has been in great form, especially offensively. Yesterday was not the case. But like, you know, the last week's Clasico, it felt like there was only one team on the pitch, to be honest. Like, Chelsea was doing everything. Tottenham has, I won't say they haven't done nothing, but that was nearly the case. On Chelsea's side, we once again we saw an exceptional and decisive Moises Caicedo in this game. And I would also like to highlight the very good performances of Malo Gusto, who has been playing in the midfield for the last few matches and is really, really good at this position. And also the Wesley Fofana comeback from injury. And we saw yesterday that the central defensive pairing of Fofana and Chalobah was very effective and reassuring for the team, which, and I want to say that, was also able to count on a solid Robert Sanchez for once, I might add. Yeah, guys, it seems
Finally.
like after listening to our critics, the Spanish goalkeeper has finally woken up. So that's a good news for Chelsea. So yeah, overall, a very solid and dominant performance for Chelsea, proving that especially in big Premier League fixtures, and despite some missing players, I think of Cole Palmer, for example, which is still injured, Chelsea is capable of dominating their opponents, much like they did against Liverpool a few weeks ago. So a really good game for Chelsea. Guys, when you look at those 2 teams, Tottenham and Chelsea, with their very complete and high quality squads and players, what are these teams missing to really compete at the top of the table and really play for the title? Darren, what do you think of that?
So we have been talking about how Arsenal has been struggling to fight for the Premier League title in the past recent years, but I've also just realized that we didn't see Chelsea competing very competitively for the Premier League title in the last couple of years as well. I mean, the last time that I remember Chelsea was excited for the Premier League in the beginning of the season was probably the Thomas Tuchel season in
Exactly.
2021. Lukaku came back from Inter, again back to Chelsea, and everything was looking good until the injury and then the failure in the Premier League, although they won the Champions League. But ever since, I didn't see Chelsea being competitive in the Premier League, so I actually want them to gain their performance back and be able to fight for the Premier League title again in the future. But right now, they are, I think, not in a bad state because Enzo Maresca is doing a good thing with this squad, with the current squad, a new generation of players in the Chelsea. So I like to watch them and I would like to see them be successful. But I cannot say the same about Tottenham because even though last year they won the Europa League, it's clear that in the Premier League they are still struggling a lot to hold on to their spot, to even fight for the Europa League spot in the Premier League. So it's not enough for them, but I don't know if they're going to be able to make a good comeback because I've never seen Tottenham fight truly for the Premier League title. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. Maybe our grandfathers did. I don't know. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes for the two teams, but I'm happy for Chelsea to slowly regain their ability to fight for the Premier League title. Not yet, but hopefully in the future.
Yeah, there is something interesting since some seasons now that, as you said, Chelsea is not really competing for the title, but they are always kind of dangerous in the big fixtures. So that Liverpool game, that Tottenham game, I remember a few seasons ago against Man City, you know, when Cole Palmer just arrived at Chelsea.
Yeah.
They were really interesting, sometimes against Arsenal too. It feels like if Chelsea tries to not lose stupid points against like low table teams,
Mm-hmm.
they can maybe argue more in this title race. I think they are not lacking so many things, but this is maybe the most important point, is that they have to stay focused. We talked about the red cards, for example, when, especially in the Premier League, when you take a red card, even if you're playing against the rock bottom of the table, you will suffer and maybe you will lose the game. So I think just they just need to focus more on small games, but also on big games as they usually do, and maybe at this time they can compete for the title. Jotis, you wanted to add something?
I just wanted to add something there about Chelsea. You might have seen this, but our friend Noah, he made a video the other day on Instagram talking about the rivalry between Spurs and Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting point that he brought up was how he can't really hate any Chelsea players because they might not be there next season. It talks about the instability of that Chelsea team. And I think that's a great point because
Yeah.
as rivals, you see a player and then you start, hating him, and then it goes on. That's how usually it is. But with this Chelsea team, with their like I don't know 43 player squad, you never know
More.
who's going to be there next season. So you start focusing, you start hating on one player, and he's not there anymore. Which I feel like is an interesting aspect of this team. It might be one aspect that kind of hasn't that kind of held them from achieving success in the past couple of years. But this year, it looks like they're promising. I mean, again, like I said last episode, they're world champions, as they would like to call themselves. So they might be heading somewhere. But I thought it was an interesting aspect that Chelsea has gone through.
Yeah, but I understand his point, but if Chelsea keeps on giving players 7-year, 8-year contracts like they did in the past couple of years, I bet he's going to see some of these players a bit more.
Yeah,
That is true.
It
that's
depends.
true. Yeah, also I just want, before you, Alex, add something, is that Tottenham, I heard that during the game, has only beat Chelsea at home once in like 4 or 5 years now. So I think he wants players to hate, but he can just hate his club because they never win against Chelsea at home. So that's a good start for Tottenham. Yeah, Alex, tell us.
No, I mean, Chelsea, even though they give long contracts to players, they have a very good ability to sell players. I mean, Jackson, before he was sold to Bayern, he had a contract until what, 2035 or something. So,
Something like that.
yeah, they signed those players, but they also offloaded many of them if they didn't perform. Also, like, we are into the new era of Chelsea. It was the Abramovich era, which was very, very successful and very controversial as well. Chelsea has never won has never won anything doing things with stability, having a project and building for the future. In the season in which they reached their first Champions League final, their manager, Grant, replaced Mourinho after the club didn't find any successor. He was in the club and was the only option available, and they managed to reach the final. When they won the Champions League in 2012, their first Champions League, do you know who was their coach? It was
Di Matteo, right?
Di Matteo. Yeah, exactly. He was like an interim coach. He never coached again after that. Chelsea means chaos. Even in 2021, when they won their last Champions League, Tuchel came in January after they were like 10th in the table with Lampard. So I think it's a Chelsea thing. It's a Chelsea thing doing things with chaos, So it's not surprising me what's going on with them.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting. This kind of epic stories to build by this club. Guys, we continue with another interesting result this weekend in the Premier League. Liverpool's 2-0 victory over Aston Villa. It should be noted that the Reds were on a 4-match losing streak in the league, unlike Aston Villa, who had not lost since August in the Premier League. That's quite impressive. Alex, do you think this good result for Liverpool will help them to bounce back before the big games against Real Madrid at Anfield tomorrow evening?
You know what's like giving me more hope apart from the result? The way Liverpool played. Because I watched the game, Liverpool played extraordinarily. They pressed the whole game. Aston Villa players couldn't get their the ball from their own half, couldn't get the ball away from their own half. Liverpool players were all over them, and they created many chances. They could have scored more, but as we have seen this season, finishing those chances was the big problem of Liverpool, because even the games that Liverpool lost, they have a very big XG in comparison to their opposition. So that meant that they created the chances, but they just couldn't convert them. So in the end, the opposition ended up scoring more goals than Liverpool. So this is why they lost their games. I'm optimistic about Liverpool, because if they had won this game 1-0, for example, and playing shit, I would have been more like stressed, but like this, they played a very good game, and I'm optimistic. I think the team is going back little by little. If they convert their chances, they are gonna be there. Maybe it will be difficult to challenge Arsenal for the title, because they need Arsenal to drop points, and that right now seems very likely, but they could start winning again, Liverpool.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just the thing is that the good thing for Liverpool this season is that they have beat Arsenal, you remember, in August. So maybe that victory and other results, but that victory can give them more confidence for the rest of the season, and then maybe avoid dropping stupid points, like I said with Chelsea, the same with Liverpool, to when the game the second game against Arsenal will arrive, be prepared, and maybe at this time can make the difference. Judges, do you think, like, are you afraid of this Liverpool side right now, or do you think they are too weak now to do something against Real Madrid tomorrow?
So I didn't watch the game against Aston Villa, so I don't exactly know what Alex is talking about. But there's no way this Liverpool team is beating Madrid on Tuesday.
Where's that red card? Where's that red card?
We'll use them later. Trust me, we will use them later.
We'll need that for later. But no, it's good that like Liverpool has bounced back from the like 5-game losing streak. But I don't think, I mean, the form Real Madrid is in, I don't think it'll be easy for Liverpool tomorrow. And Real Madrid are back on their feet after the one defeat in the season that was against Atleti. And yeah, I feel like I feel like it's going to be a great match, and the result would be in favor for Real Madrid. Liverpool, again, they won one game, but they've had a lot of problems in the games before, so I don't think they'll have a favorable results tomorrow.
Game is at
Yeah.
Anfield, right? It's not in Bernabeu.
It's an
Yeah,
Anfield,
the
yeah.
game is at
Yeah.
Anfield.
So it's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting.
we will talk about those amazing games just later. Just want you to ask, Darren, do you think Liverpool is still in competition for the title? Of course they are, because it's only the beginning of the season, so they haven't lost so many points that they can't recover. But do you think, I don't know, with more confidence, with good Florian Wirtz or good Alexander Isaac and the other players, are they still able to win and to do the back-to-back in the Premier League this season? What do you think?
I think they're definitely still in competition and still one of the top contenders for the title, because we've always discussed how this year might be Arsenal's year. But when we look at the squad depth, I think Liverpool has a better squad depth than Arsenal, in my opinion. And Arsenal always keeps scoring from set pieces. So we still haven't seen them score or play a really good game from an open play. But Liverpool, on the other hand, they are, even though they had back-to-back losses, I agree with Alex. I think they're gonna make a good comeback because they have a strong game in the open play. I would say their open play game is stronger than Arsenal, but The problem is Manchester City because, Pep Guardiola and his students are improving a lot, and Erling Haaland is not stopping to score goals. Every weekend, even though I didn't watch this weekend's game of Manchester City, I've seen that Erling Haaland scored another goal, and every single weekend he keeps scoring. He's like a machine, and I'm not sure if Liverpool or Arsenal can keep up with it unless Erling Haaland gets injured or he gets suspended for some time or something like that. Arsenal and Liverpool are going to struggle a lot, even though Arsenal is leading. I'm saying this because we know how in the past they have bottled the game several times, bottled the league title several times. So yeah, bottle FC Arsenal. But I still believe that Liverpool are going to push until the end. They're not gonna stop, or they're not gonna give up, and everything might change because remember how in the first weeks of the Premier League everyone was saying this Liverpool team is incredible, they're really, really good, and then a couple of weeks later they started to get back-to-back losses. So a couple of weeks after this podcast episode gets released, maybe things are gonna change. Maybe Arsenal is gonna go on a loss streak and Liverpool is gonna be on the top of the Premier League. So I'm not giving my hopes just yet for Liverpool.
Okay.
I agree that you're saying that everything can happen and things can shift like very drastically in football. That's true. But the only thing that I'm not agreeing with, and as a Liverpool fan, it's such a shame. You mentioned the squad depth, and I actually believe that Arsenal has a better squad depth than Liverpool because
Really?
we've seen all these defensive problems that Liverpool have had. Or Leone got injured and he's gonna miss the rest of the season. They don't have pairings for Van Dijk and Konate is one step closer to sign for Real Madrid. So Liverpool, they don't have squad depth, especially in defense. So I think this might be, in my opinion, this might be the upper hand for Arsenal in this title race. The fact that they have a very solid defense. And you know what they say, like attack wins you games, but defense wins you title.
True, true. Who said that? Was it Jose Mourinho?
I think it was Mourinho.
Maybe, yeah.
It
I-
Maybe
sounds
an
like
older, maybe someone older. I think. Not
Might
sure.
be, might be.
Yeah, well, that title race would be really interesting this season. Now we are heading to Spain. Real Madrid continues its winning streak in La Liga after its victory in El Clasico. Xabi Alonso's team won comfortably at home against Valencia 4-0. Kylian Mbappe scored twice, Bellingham scored 2, and Alvaro Carreras, the man of the match, in my opinion, also scored. Jotis, Real is really improving more and more, especially defensively this season. We can say. What do you think is the difference compared to last year's difficult season? What are the big changes comparatively?
I think the biggest change is arrival of Xabi Alonso because he has completely changed. He has completely had a revamp, if you could call it that, because he has his own system. He is giving chances to younger players. The pressing is it's a lot more intense, where Ancelotti was kind of like, go do your thing. Xabi Alonso is still figuring things out, but he has a game plan, and so far it's been effective. We had one loss in the season, but apart from that, it's been very effective. This would be like the game tomorrow would be a big test, and the players, like, we've seen that there's some like internal issues, but from what we see in the media, it has been solved. But Mbappe is on brilliant form. He has scored 18 goals in 10 games, 11 games this season, or 13 games. 18 goals in 11 games this season, I think. And Carreras,
Yeah.
he also his first goal against Valencia. And yeah,
That was a
Arda
sick goal.
Güler, what a goal! Like,
Yeah, amazing
unbelievable
one.
strike. And Carreras, Arda Güler, and Mastantuono. We see a lot of younger talent. The bench, we have good squad depth at the moment. So yeah, we're in a really good place at the moment, and I'm really confident in this team.
All right, interesting. Therein, Alex, do you think that Real Madrid is now the favorite to win this Liga title, or do you still think that Barcelona can come back and win it again? What do you think? Alex, maybe tell us.
Barcelona is definitely coming back. Barcelona will win this league title. Gil
Okay.
Manzano cannot keep on delivering for Real Madrid. Also, Mateo Lahoz and everything. These guys will not perform at their highest level for the whole season. Barcelona will get past this difficult situation. And yeah, I just hate Real Madrid.
Okay. That's the conclusion of all what you said. You just said Real Madrid.
Man's a simple man. He takes
Yeah,
Real
yeah.
Madrid. And
Yeah,
saying
well,
this with a signed Real Madrid jersey behind his back.
The irony, yeah? The irony. Arrogance
exactly.
and the irony.
If
But I was just
everybody
going to
wants
say,
a Real Madrid signed jersey, I have it on auction. It's 10,000.
Alex, I have a question for you. Do you think Lamine Yamal's breakup with Nicky Nicole is going to increase his performance in the pitch?
Bro, this is the biggest transfer for Barcelona this season. Yeah, but
He's back to prime
I
Yamal.
don't believe it's true. Is it like official or something? They announced it.
I
Really?
think so.
yeah, I think they did. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, I didn't believe the rumors at first because I saw in the press that they were buying the former mention of Piqué and Shakira to live together.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think he was talking on a show or somewhere. That's where he announced this news.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think Nicky Nicole deleted all the photos with Yamal from her Instagram page.
Yeah,
There you go. So that's what celebs do. They delete pictures
yeah.
as if it won't exist on the internet, like what
Yeah.
we're trying to erase.
No.
No, I was just going to mention that. I mean, Alex was talking about referees, but who got officially charged with
Haven't
bribing the
haven't
referees
anything
last
on
week?
that, bro. Haven't seen anything on that. I don't know. And also, that's the problem of the presidents of the club, and they are gonna pay for it. The club is like, after, for example, to make a comparison, after the Second World War, you can't blame the whole Germany for like what they did. You can't blame the whole country.
Prepare your red card, judges, please.
I need that red card. I
What
need
is
that
this
red card.
comparison? What is this comparison, please? My man just compared Barcelona with Germany in 1940s.
Well, Hansi Flick is the coach, so maybe you can see a link between those two. That's why the comparison.
Yeah, that was the comparison.
That's a straight red,
Straight
Alex.
red,
There's,
man.
Yeah.
there's
Straight
no
red. That's a straight red. I'm sorry.
No, but well, I think that's an interesting subject. Maybe we can prepare that for next week and
Yeah,
debate
definitely.
with maybe other arguments that just compare the Barcelona to Germany in the Second World War. Maybe we can work on that. But yeah, judges, if you have news, if you have informations, you can prepare that and we'll debate around that subject. Just guys, it's time to move a bit more faster. We will finish this sequence in Italy. Sorry, this match between the reigning champions and leaders Napoli against a strong Como side. Beyond the 0-0 result, which was not the best result we had this weekend, Darren, you spoke at the start of the season about your hopes for Como. Can we expect great things this season from this team? This team is coached by Cesc Fabregas, so it's a really interesting one. What do you expect from Como this season?
So yeah, at the beginning of the season, I had hopes for them because they made some really, really important signings, and of course, Cesc Fabregas as the coach. That's also interesting to see. And even though the score was 0-0, I like the way that Como plays because they like to take many risks. Cesc Fabregas oftenly tells his players to go forward and make pressure in the third area of the pitch, and this is something hard for a mid-table, or not even a mid-table, for a newly promoted team to do against the reigning champions Napoli in their stadium, because you have a lots of pressure on yourself. It's not easy to implement everything that the coach tells you to do in the pitch, but I think Como did that really, really good. They even had the chance to win the game. They had a penalty, but sadly Alvaro Morato missed the penalty, and I should also note that I don't like his performance right now. I think Como is lacking a real striker, someone that can get the few chances that they take in the game and score them into goals. Apart from that, I really like how they're playing. Right now they're 7th in the table, and I should remind that top 6 in this area goes to European competitions next year. So maybe Como can find their way into top 6 if they keep on going like this. But in overall, I'm happy with how they're playing and Cesc Fabregas, and also I want to mention Nico Paz as well because he's a Real Madrid talent, and I think Real Madrid has a buyback option for Nico Paz.
Yeah, they do.
I think if we are talking about the favor of Real Madrid, I think they're going to buy him back for sure because he's really talented and he's a really, really good player that can improve Real Madrid's squad depth a lot.
All right, interesting. We remind also that AC Milan beat Roma yesterday 1-0, so that's a interesting results for the race of the title. Guys, it's time to continue this podcast and talk about the Champions League, which is coming this week. We'll see the fourth match day of the group league stage with lots of exciting games, including two huge fixtures on Tuesday evening. That's the bad thing because the games are
Yeah,
at the same time, but so that's live. But so that's why I will ask you this question. There will be Liverpool hosting Real Madrid at Anfield and PSG hosting Bayern Munich in Paris at the same time. Jotis, Darren, Alex, let's begin by Jotis. I know your answer, but which game are you going to watch tomorrow night if you have to choose?
I mean, the answer is obvious, but I can't deny the fact that, PSG Bayern is such a massive game because Bayern has been so good this season and PSG has been excellent, and PSG has, I think, some players are returning from injury for this game as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
Midfield will normally be complete tomorrow, so that's a good news.
so that's like a massive clash tomorrow as well. But at the same time, Real Madrid is playing Liverpool at Anfield, so it just doesn't get any bigger than this. Like these are like the biggest games this phase of Champions League can offer, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I will of course watch PSG Bayern Munich as a Parisian supporter, but also because we talked a lot about Bayern Munich during those podcasts previously. I think for now PSG and Bayern are the two best teams in Europe so far this season. I said before that in my opinion this version of Bayern Munich may be really dangerous for every opponent, including PSG. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if PSG continues to beat all their European opponents and to continue their dominance in Europe, or in the opposite, if Bayern can be the team that beat PSG in Europe. It will be a huge challenge for them because the game is in Paris. I think they're able to do good things. I hope not. I'm a bit afraid, to be honest, because as I continue to watch Bayern playing, they're really solid offensively. Harry Kane is on fire. Michael Olise too. Luis Diaz is great, but also, and that's the specificity I think this year is that defensively they're really strong. Upamecano and Jonathan Tah uh, are uh, are doing a great pair in defense. The fullbacks too. The goalkeeper also we know him. So I think that is going to be a really interesting game, and maybe Bayern will be the first team to beat this PSG side in Europe since a lot of time right now. I'm hoping not, but I think it's going to be interesting. Alex, same question for you. Liverpool, Real Madrid, or PSG Bayern for you tomorrow night?
I'm gonna have Liverpool Real Madrid on the main TV and PSG Bayern on the laptop. But yeah, I'm gonna watch them at the same time, but the main focus would be on Liverpool Real Madrid.
Do you expect, we talked about Liverpool previously. Do you think this is the game for Liverpool to really bounce back at Anfield with the supporters, with the Champions League anthem, all this pressure they can have? Do you think this is the game for Liverpool to win?
It could be. It could be a very big turning point because they won against Villa in the weekend, and that gave them the morale needed to forget about this bad streak that they've had. So if they win against Madrid as well, they would like forget completely about everything that's gone bad this season for them. It's definitely a huge clash. I don't know. I expect much more from Salah. I know that I like talk very bad about him and criticize him a lot because of his performances. He wasn't at his best level against Villa either, but he made a few dribblings that reminded us of his talent. So I expect him to step up and punish Courtois finally because, yeah, Real Madrid have been the nightmare of Liverpool in the last years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to get that revenge. Unfortunately, every time, when Salah posted in 2022 before the final,
Yeah.
we are on to get that revenge or something because they had lost that final because of Karius in 2018. And he posted that and they lost because Courtois turned into Octopus Man. He saved every ball. So yeah, they
All
need to
right.
beat them.
Yeah, they need to beat them maybe for them to bounce. But Darren, I finish with you. Which game are you gonna watch this Tuesday?
So I think I'm gonna watch Liverpool versus Real Madrid as well on the main TV, but I might do a split screen because it would break my heart to fail to watch Bayern Munich versus PSG because I want to see how Luis Enrique plans to stop this Bayern Munich team because we talked about how good Bayern Munich are this season several times in our previous podcasts. So I'm curious to see how they're going to perform against the last Champions League winner.
Yeah, when we see those two fixtures, Liverpool, Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern Munich, it feels like this is the semi-finals or final of the Champions League already. So these four teams at the beginning seems to be the main favorite to lift the European trophy this season, to be honest. But in your opinion, guys, which other teams can compete with these four this season? I'm listening. You tell me some names and we'll judge.
Not Barcelona.
Okay.
Not
I'm very
Kerala
interested.
FC.
It's Kerala Blasters. You should know.
Okay.
Yeah, you should know that.
Now Barcelona can. So Barcelona can compete with those teams. Arsenal can compete with those teams as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And I believe that Arsenal can beat PSG because they can play a very structured style of football. Liverpool can on their day. City, it depends.
Yeah, we forgot about City because of the previous season and those bad results. But you're right to mention it. They have maybe one of the greatest team in Europe with amazing players, with maybe the best coach we had in this century. Yeah, maybe City will like do great in this season in Champions League. Darren, do you think Manchester City could be one of the favorites to win the trophy, or it's too soon to say that?
So in my mind, I usually differ teams and coaches by saying this team is a league team and this team is a tournament team. And I haven't seen that Manchester City is a really good tournament team in the previous years. Even in the year that they won the Champions League, they struggled a lot in the final against Inter, and they were the clear favorite sides that game, but it didn't go like that. So I think it's a bit early to say that about Manchester City, but I definitely agree about Arsenal and Barcelona with Alex. I also would like to point out we shouldn't sleep on Inter as well because Serie A teams are really, really good in the defensive side. And as we've said before, in the tournaments, defense is one of the keys because you might score some goals, but when you concede a goal, maybe there's no turning back from there. So not conceding a goal and standing still, standing strong in the defense is a crucial key to be successful. I mean, if Simeone Inzaghi was able to do that with 30-year-old average team of Inter 2 times, I mean, why not again with this Inter generation? So we'll see how they do as well.
That would be crazy for Kivu, the Romanian coach of Inter. He's doing very well right now. He's up there. Like I think he's second or third in the league.
Yeah, second.
Is he putting Romania on the map, Alex?
Sorry?
Is he putting Romania on the map?
He is, bro. So I talked last episode about how bad Romanian coaches are. So we haven't had a coach like leading a top European team like Inter is in the last 30 years. We had Mircea Lucescu, which is the current Romanian national team manager. He's 80, by the way, 80 years old.
But he's really successful though.
Yeah, he was at Inter for 2 months or something. He left. He didn't
Just in
even
holidays.
remember how the apartment looked in Milano because he stayed there for little time, you know.
Yeah.
So
But he won
is the exception. Sorry?
He won the UEFA Super League final with Galatasaray in 2001.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
That was a big success as well, I would say.
Yeah, it
Against
was.
Real Madrid, by the way.
Yeah, it was. But I was like talking about teams from the Western Europe. But
Yeah.
Galatasaray beating Real Madrid is definitely a huge result. And I think that's also the last time Real Madrid lost a European final.
I'm not sure.
When was this?
It might be, yeah.
Which year was this?
2001.
2001, yeah.
Possibly, yeah, that could be, yeah.
That might be, yeah.
Yeah, Galatasaray had not only Lucescu on the bench, they had Popescu and Hagi in the
Romanian legends
on their team as well.
We'll see if Kiwi is gonna do something similar with Inter this season. I'm curious to see.
I think he can win the league. If he gets to the Champions League final again, if he gets Inter to the Champions League final again, it would be crazy and it would be already the biggest achievement of any Romanian coach. Even though a Romanian team won the former European Champions Cup in the past, that was Steaua in 1986. The football was different back then, you know. There weren't such big differences between East and West, but right now, because of the money and everything involved, the gap is huge. So to have
I
a
agree.
Romanian succeeding in the real football, as we call it here, that's insane. So in my opinion, it would be one of the greatest individual achievements in the Romanian football history.
Yeah, well, for the moment, he's doing really good. Like as you said, he's in the race for the title in Serie A. He won all the 3 games in Champions League. I think tomorrow or Wednesday they're playing against Kairat Almaty, so maybe a fourth consecutive win in the European League for Inter. So yeah, I remember when we used to talk about some teams that we felt not doing so good this season. With Alex, you remember we talked about Atletico Madrid, for example. I also at the time wanted to talk about Inter because they changed the manager. I think when you lose 5-0 in a Champions League final, you have some problems after to recover from that. That's understandable. But they're quite surprising me this season because they're still consistent. They're very solid and they're winning games like consecutive games. So that's really nice. So yeah, Darren, you were right to mention Inter too in the main competitors for the European trophy. And talking about what we said during the start of the season, guys, we'll move now to the last segment of today's podcast. You probably remember that a few weeks ago we looked back at our predictions for the start of the season. As I recall, lots of red cards were handed out by judges and by us. This time, I've decided to be kind to us. I've selected one good prediction from among the others that might allow us maybe to recover from last time. We'll start with you, Jotis. You predicted that the newly promoted Sunderland would have a good season in the Premier League. At the moment, the team, which is told by a French coach, Régis Lebris, are seventh in the league. And they have a game in hand to play tonight, if I'm not saying wrong. Jotis, you talked about Sunderland. Do you still believe in this team?
Yes, I do, and they're playing Everton tonight, which I think would be a win. Because I think Everton lost against. I think it was can't remember who they lost against, but they come on the back of a loss. Land I think has a good team, a good coach. I don't know much about the guy. I've seen a couple of his interviews. He seems like he looks like what he's doing, and he has like Sunderland has made some good signings, and one of them is Granit Xhaka. And we know he came. He was like he's an Arsenal legend, and he went to Bayer Leverkusen, won the league with them, and then he's at Sunderland. So I feel like Sunderland club, as like historically, they've had a really strong sense of community. Their fans are. I don't know if you guys seen the documentary Sunderland Till I Die. I would recommend it to everyone listening to this. It's a really good documentary. It shows the passion of the fan base. So I think I'm still holding on to that prediction. I think Sunderland would still finish in the mid-table and they'd be staying in the Premier League for another season.
All right, that's interesting. Alex, Darren, are you impressed by this Sunderland team, or maybe you knew that they're gonna be good? What do you think of this surprising position for them in the table, and also in terms of level, they're playing very good in the Premier League. Alex, yeah, tell us what do you think of this?
I didn't expect them to be competing right now for the Champions League. I don't think they can hold to that fourth spot right now, but they are in the fourth position right now. So technically, they are competing for the Champions League. I expected them to not have like too much trouble with relegation because we talked the past few weeks how the newly promoted Premier League teams have gone
Yeah.
straight back down. So they were the only team out of those that have gone up this year to have that seem to have better squad than the others. So in conclusion, they can survive more easily. You know, I think they will finish mid-table towards the end of the season because keeping this form and acquiring this points tally is very difficult to get to Europe. You need to do like close to 60 points in the Premier League or even more. Yeah, they would definitely maybe finish in the first half of the table, top 10. That would be a very, very good result because bear in mind they are newly promoted. So they were in League One, that's the third division of English football, a
Yeah.
few seasons ago. So right now they are one of the better sides of the Premier League. It's a very big achievement.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry, I was just gonna say, just looking at the table right now, they're currently seventh with 17 points, and they played 9 games. If they win tonight, they'll get 20 points, which would put them second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. 20
Wow.
points
That's
in 10
crazy.
games. That is amazing. And yeah, second in the table. That's
Who are they playing against tonight?
Everton.
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 They might win.
They might. Darren, what do you think of this Sunderland team? We used to talk about also that other Premier League teams than the big six that we had previously can really compete for the top stands in the rankings. Do you think Sunderland is able to maintain this dominance and continue to win games and maybe, as Alex and Jotis said, to finish in good position this season?
I think they're right now in a really good form, as we see from the results and from the Premier League table as well. But I kind of agree with Alex because standing in the top 6 or top 7 in the Premier League is very, very difficult. Not because it requires a good team, but also because it requires a mentality. By mentality, I mean, I see it as a big club thing to hold on to that because you need to be fully focused not only with your team, but also with your fans, your whole community, the whole club altogether should be fully focused and fully concentrated throughout the season. And it sometimes can be hard for mid-table teams or freshly came teams such as Sunderland to achieve that. And there's still a huge way to go throughout the season. But I agree that they're gonna finish in the maybe top 10 of the Premier League if they keep on going like this. But in overall, I'm saying that they're really, really having a great season so far.
All right. Well, we'll see how this team is going through this Premier League season. Darren, you also predicted a great season for Bournemouth, currently fourth in the Premier League. We had previously the opportunity to talk about this team last week, especially, but I'd like to come back to another good prediction of yours. So you have plenty of them. That's congratulations.
Wow.
You bet on Dean Hoyssen as a player to watch this season. It must be said that the young Spanish midfield defender, has settled in well at Real Madrid and now seems untouchable in Xabi Alonso starting 11. In your opinion, does Dean Hoyssen have the potential to become maybe one of the greatest defenders in the world?
I think definitely. I mean, he has everything that a defender needs to have. He has the technical ability, the timing for his tackles. He's really, really good with the ball in overall, I would say. He's a bit of a clunky, I can say, but it's normal because he's really, really tall. I mean, with that height, and I'm saying this because I'm tall as well, so I know how it is it's hard to be agile with the ball if you're a tall player, so I kind of know how he feels, but apart from that, I think he's a really, really good center back. I've said this at the beginning of the season as well, maybe in our first or second podcast, but since he's half Spanish and half Dutch, he has the technical ability of a Spanish and he has the focused and mentality of the discipline of Dutch. So he's a perfect mix, I would say. And I think he's going to be one of the top defenders of the European football. I think he already is one of the best right now in terms of form, but he's still young. So I think he's going to achieve much more in the future. But yeah, in overall, I like him and I like his defensive abilities a lot. So can't wait to see more of him throughout the season with Real Madrid.
Yeah, Jotis, you are a huge Real Madrid fan. When you see that Dean Hoyssen is playing with Real Madrid, do you feel confident defensively?
I feel like it's been a while since we've seen Real Madrid side a young defender that seems like a very future, like a potential long-term project, if you know what I mean. Because we always have Real Madrid always have had good defenders, good characters, good strong defenders who are loyal to the club, who are loyal to the badge, who are excellent players, but better characters. So I feel like Dean Hoyssen could well be that. I mean, Darren talked about his ability as a player, his technical, but I also want to focus on the character as well because I feel like since he's young and there's a lot of time to get a lot of experience and learn and grow with the club, that's what I would love to see. And there's no doubt that if he keeps up this form, he's going to be one of the best defenders in the world. That's for sure.
Yeah, Alex, do you share this opinion, or you want to talk about Kubarsi? Maybe I don't know.
I mean, I think that him and Kubarsi are going to be the center back pairing for the Spanish national team in the next years. The only thing that I would like to point out regarding Dim Hoysen, he is like sometimes he is exposed to mistakes. He has been already sent out a few times this season, and he has earned the nickname Saddam Hussein for this. Also in the Clásico, in the beginning of the game, he made two very big mistakes. He gave the ball straight to Barcelona players, and Real Madrid were lucky that Barcelona couldn't convert those chances into goals. But and it's not the first time that he's done these mistakes, this kind of mistakes this season. Also in the Marseille game in the Champions League, he gave the ball away to Greenwood, which set up opening goal for Timothy Weah. So but the thing with him, he does mistakes, but at the same time, he can play like he never did that mistake and play amazing for the rest of the game. That's a very good thing that he can recover mentally, that he can recover from a mistake. And I'm sure that as the years will go on, he will do less and less mistakes. But this season, he will do more mistakes for Real Madrid and he will cost them goals. It just depends which kind of goals, because if he does a mistakes in the Champions League final, it's something. If he gets a mistake against Elche, it's a different thing. So yeah.
That's
Yeah,
actually a good point because it's about
Totally.
moments. Mistakes like, if you end up winning La Liga, no one's going to remember. But if you make a mistake in the final of the Champions League, I guess that's why everyone remembers Karius and
Yeah.
no one
But
remembers mistakes by keepers like
imagine
made by other keepers.
imagine Barcelona scored because of his mistakes in the Clásico. So that would be remembered. He
Yeah.
did mistakes in the big games this season. It depends. We'll see.
yeah.
We'll
I
see.
think that's also a consequence of the freedom of play Xabi Alonso is
Yeah,
giving him
exactly.
in defense. He's really talented with passing. He also plays both feet, I think, at the kind of the same level. So that's amazing for a manager to have a defender like this because he can play on the left or on the right side of the defense. So that's great. And so that's maybe is the explaining why sometimes he's making some mistakes is because also he have the freedom to play long passes, to play a long cross over the pitch. So I think that he's really talented. I agree with what you said, guys. He is really young and is progressing more and more at every game. I think he might like if he can correct this mistakes and maybe become more focused sometimes on situation. I think he might, as you said, become a great defender for Spain national team, but also for Real Madrid during the long times. He's only 20 years old or something, so he's really young. And if I want to compare a bit him with his former partner at Bournemouth, Ilya Zabarny, that he's now playing in PSG, to be honest, maybe that's a Bournemouth thing. They had amazing defenders, but they're committing a lot of mistakes. I can tell that Ilya Zabarny is also committing some mistakes. He did great against Barcelona, for example. He did a great game, but he's still not really reassuring the supporters with his passing, with his duels. He loses lots of duels in the games, and just like it's a thing I wanted to add is that Bournemouth has been really clever to form and then to sell at the same time all those players because as you predicted they are doing a great season because they had to rebuild a complete defense.
Yeah.
When you sell one player and the other one who can play for a PSG or Real Madrid is not leaving the club, in the head it's not the same. So when you sell all the players at the same time, you earn money, you rebuild the complete team, and then your performance. So I think that was a clever move by Bournemouth.
Definitely.
Alex, your prediction. Yeah, you predicted a great season for AS Roma in the lead in Italy. Gasperini's team is currently fourth, but just 1 point behind leaders Napoli. Do you think AS Roma can challenge for the title in Italy this season, Alex?
I think they will push
Mm-hmm.
and will be in those top positions coming to the end of the season. I don't think they can win the title, but they will definitely be there, and I think they will definitely get the Champions League qualification. I put all my faith on Gasperini because he took a very average Atalanta side and transformed it into one of the hot teams in Italy,
Yeah.
made them relevant even in Europe. And he's a very good coach, and I put all my faith in him. If I were a huge Roma supporter, I would build not build him a statue, but maybe
Not for now.
get a photo of him in my bedroom or something.
Yeah, well, we know the passion of football in Roma, especially for this club. Also, beautiful jerseys. I wanted to say they always
Yeah.
have beautiful jerseys at AS Roma. Guys, I want you to ask you one question. So far, the title race in Italy is really intense. So, as I said, Napoli is leader, but just 1 point above AS Roma, Inter Milan, AC Milan. We mentioned also Como, Juventus, Bologna is doing great also this season. If you have one team to say that you think will win the trophy this season, who will that be? Judges, who is your favorite to win Serie A this year?
How's Napoli doing?
They're
First,
first right now.
I think Napoli is going to win it
yeah, back to back.
back to back.
Okay, interesting. Darren, you agree with Judges or you have another opinion?
You know what? At the beginning of the season, I was thinking maybe Napoli could win as well, but after watching some games in the Serie A and also how Italian teams perform in the Champions League, my opinion changed and I would like to say Inter.
Okay, Inter Milan's Serie A trophy for Romanian coach. Alex, do you want that? Do you think
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
will be
with
the
how
case?
I have to back my counterpart, my Romanian Kivu, so I think he will win Serie A.
Inter, I'm gonna say Napoli, same as Judges.
So it's
Think yeah, 2-2. I think the race is gonna be intense until the end. I think maybe the title will be the result of the last games or maybe the really last game of the season. But I don't know. I was afraid for Napoli to play both Champions League and Serie A at high level this season. We know that Antonio Conte is used to play only one good season with his club before leaving. So now
Yeah.
is the second, so maybe he's improving. In Champions League, they're doing quite good. I think they might qualify for the next round if they get good results. But also in Serie A, they still consistent. They don't lose so many games, even if they're not really showing amazing skills, amazing tactical plans, and amazing goals. They're very, very solid. They have great players. Kevin De Bruyne, Scott McTominay, and lots more. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Napoli, maybe a back-to-back. Just imagine the craziness in Napoli if they win the title once again
They'll go
once
mad.
again in a row. That will be crazy. I remember I went in holiday in Napoli in summer 2023, just after they won the title. I don't know, 40 years after the last title.
Yeah.
There were Napoli jerseys, scarves, colors everywhere. Like you were looking on the left, you see Napoli. You were looking on the right, you see Napoli. That was crazy, and yeah, the city is amazing for that. Okay, so Alex and Darren Inter Milan and Jotis and me Napoli. We'll see. We'll see. Finally, yeah, I want to talk about my prediction. I wanted to talk also about Ligue 1, and in particular Strasbourg, which I predicted would qualify for Europe next season. At the moment, they are seventh in the league, but only 1 point behind the fourth place, which is Lille. And now the fourth place in France is a qualifying spot for the Champions League. So they're not so far from this spot.
Yeah.
And I stand by my prediction for this team, which I think has one of the best attacks in the league.
yeah,
They're also, they're really good. They're also fortunate to have a very strong squad and a really good coach, Liam Rossignol. And I think they're capable of competing with teams like Lyon, Lille, Lens, maybe Monaco, and therefore finishing high up the table this season. And also special mention to Valentin Barco, the Argentinian midfielder, from Strasbourg. He played in Sevilla. He plays also in Premier League with Brighton. He already had a great season last year, and he's now showing his full potential. And he's only 21 years old, if I'm not saying wrong. So I think he's the kind of player who can boost this team and maybe enable them to aim high this season. So I talked a bit about Strasbourg in the start of the season, and I stand by this prediction. I think maybe we might see this team in a big European competition. Alex, you're my mate with the French League because you're commentating some games. Have you watched some Strasbourg games or some highlights? What do you think about this team? Yeah.
I commentated their game not last weekend, but last week against Auxerre, 3-0. You mentioned Barco. He was amazing. He scored. He actually scored in that game. Do you remember when he was signed by Brighton from Boca Juniors? He was a left back, and he was converted into a midfielder at Strasbourg, and he turned into one of the hot prospects in the league. And Liga has many great talented midfielders. He is a very good player. Also Panicelli, the striker that plays for Strasbourg. Before that game against Auxerre, he was the top scorer of the league, in a league in which you have the current Ballon d'Or winner and Mason Greenwood, which is in top form, leading the scoring ranks while you are playing for Strasbourg, which is not one of the most top teams in the league. That's something. That's an achievement. They lost this weekend against Rennes. It was a heavy defeat 4-1, but kind of unexpected. I didn't expect them to lose against Rennes. Le Paul had a great game for Rennes.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Rossenior. They play very good. Their coach, he tried to imply them a very good football. They are passing very good, and I really liked what I saw.
Yeah, well, I think they are able to do great in this season, and Valentin Barco is really impressive. We remember also last season Andre Santos that are now playing for Chelsea. So maybe they're able to form great midfielders, and maybe one of the greatest midfielders in the league for the moment is the case. Darren, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, just when you guys were talking about Strasbourg, I just checked their squad, and I wanted to mention they have only 2 players apart from the goalkeepers who are above the age 25. The entire squad, except Ben Chilwell and Sobol, are under the age 25, which is very impressive. They're a really, really young side.
Yeah, very young.
Yeah, this the kind of Chelsea's academy,
Yeah,
all the young
exactly.
players interested. They're playing in Strasbourg and then going to Chelsea. But we'll follow that. But Strasbourg is doing pretty well in League One, guys. I think we've now come to the end of this latest edition of 4 Lads 1 Red Card. Thank you all once again for listening to us on Spotify or YouTube. If you're watching us, don't forget to follow us on social media, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. It's 4 Lads 1 Red Card. We'll be there next week, same time. Jotis, Darren, Alex, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you,
guys.
Jules.
Thank you,
See you next
everyone,
week.
and see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.